Hey guys, grab your hat, grab your sneakers. We're going on a hot girl walk. Let's do it. If you're new here, I'm Stacey Keller. I'm the CEO founder of Ponyback Hats, and this channel is like me meets Ponyback. We don't really know what it is yet. We're figuring it out. But welcome here and come on a hot girl walk with me today. That's what we're doing. All right, you guys. I have been working all morning and I'm feeling a bit, and not a bit. So obviously, phase one is for hot girl walk is like, you need to look the part. So put on a cute fit. I'll be right back. Okay, so for the fit of the hot girl walk, I'm just doing some biker shorts, a cute white tee, and white hat, white sneakers. We're just gonna be matching. This is actually my adventure fit. My white adventure fit is one of my favorites, but also just like if I'm gonna go do something kind of sweaty slash it's like a hot day out, like we gotta do the adventure fit. So here we go. Ready to go. All right, so update on the hot girl walk. I left my house. I started walking around the block and turned behind me and was like, those are some really dark clouds. And then 1 second later, it thundered. And then 2 seconds later, I saw lightning. And I was like, okay, this has now been turned into a hot girl stroll and we're heading back home. So I am now under the safe cover of my front porch and it's raining. So it's raining. So we're stopping for a water break and we'll see if we can resume. It feels like there's literally blue clouds right that way, but it is raining in that direction. Like it makes no sense. So we're just gonna wait it out for a few minutes. The hot girl walk was gonna be a hot girl walk rant. And I was gonna talk about how in the podcast I was listening to today, a Gary V podcast, shout out Gary V. Yeah, it's really raining on you guys and on my phone. It's raining, it's pouring. We're enjoying a lovely thunderstorm on my porch. This is what's happening. This is what's happening. This is real life, you guys. And this is the time I have blocked to film this YouTube. So I feel like we're just gonna keep going. Honestly, I'm enjoying this. It's quite refreshing. I do feel refreshed. The intention behind the hot girl walk today was twofold, was to share a rant with you guys, but I was also feeling quite stressed. And a hot girl walk for me really helps things. If you don't know what a hot girl walk is, it is a walk for your mental health, essentially, is what it is. And I think there was a famous TikToker who like coined the term hot girl walk, and it kind of took off on TikTok. And I think it spiraled kind of in COVID times, and people were like, I just need to get out, I just need to go for a walk. But then it just like became a movement. So from what I understand, the hot girl walk is like, you go for a walk, you listen to a motivational podcast, you think about things that you're grateful for, you think about your goals, but you don't think about anything else. And you also think about how hot you are while you're walking. And it's like to be focused on feeling good about yourself. And so that's what a hot girl walk is, if you don't know. There it is explained. But on today's hot girl walk, what I wanted to say, which is what I originally was starting to say, was I was listening to this Gary V podcast this morning on my drive. And he was asked a question, which was, Gary, how do I know if what I want is what I want, or if I've been programmed to want that? Oh, my Lanta, that gave me a heart attack, you guys. I have never heard such fierce lightning. That was so scary. All right, we're inside. I gotta tidy up this situation. Just a sec. Okay, better. Okay, let's, like, third time's a charm. I'm gonna just start all over once again and tell you guys about the podcast moment. So I hope I'm far back enough for Christine. So from the top, third time's a charm. Guess I don't need this on anymore. We're not hot girl walking anymore. Okay, so this morning I'm in the car. I am on my way to drop my kids off at camp, and I'm listening to Gary Vee podcast, as one does. And on this podcast, the question he's answering is, Gary, how do I know if what I want is what I want, or if what I want has been like programmed to me from like society and culture? Like, how do I know what I want essentially is what I want, or have you been like programmed? And he did not use these words, but this made me think of limiting beliefs. So we all have them. Essentially is like, we've grown up to believe certain things. And sometimes those beliefs put limits on what we're actually capable of doing in our life. I have had to face my own limiting beliefs several times over in my life. And I think maybe in sharing that could give you some insight into what are your own limiting beliefs for you, and are you holding on to and carrying those with you throughout your life? So I want to just kind of set some context for you guys when I was a younger person. So, well, all of my childhood, up until teenage, up until, probably my late 20s, I was a very nervous, anxious, socially awkward, insecure person, like extremely so. And I really was not confident. I didn't have confidence at all. I still struggle with this on a regular basis, but I know that right now I'm doing something completely new and foreign to me, and so I'm in the process of building a new confidence in this arena. Because of teaching, and if you want to go back and listen, I was a high school business teacher for 10 years prior to jumping into Ponyback. But because of teaching, I actually started to really grow in my confidence. I was doing something that I loved. I was getting really good at it. I felt like I was anyways. And I was just getting a lot of good affirmation from my admin, from fellow teachers, from students, and just felt like I was doing a really good job. And my confidence as a human just started to grow as a result of conquering something and learning something and being good at something. And through that, I also was on like a Brené Brown journey, you guys, of learning about myself and what makes me tick. And I also started listening to the How I Built This podcast. I love that podcast. If you haven't heard it, with Guy Raz, he just takes you through a journey of a bunch of entrepreneurs and their origin stories. And what highlighted to me was that no entrepreneur had really a roadmap or necessarily all the skills at the beginning, or they didn't know what they were doing. They didn't have a business education, and yet they were able to be successful. And that podcast quite literally shattered my limiting belief, because I felt like I didn't have enough confidence. I didn't have enough security in who I was. I didn't have enough bravery. I didn't have enough. I didn't have enough of all the characteristics that you're supposed to have as an entrepreneur. But listening to all these stories about all these different entrepreneurs, I realized that there was no cookie cutter entrepreneur. Many of them had different personalities. Many of them were very unique in what skills they brought to the table, but it didn't matter. There was like some kind of unique combination of the entrepreneur and their idea that just like fused together and made it work. And I was like, well, why couldn't that be me? And so that curiosity propelled me out of that limiting belief. So that is limiting belief number one, and how it was shattered. My second limiting belief that I had was that mothers could not, and this is a belief that I had, and we could have probably long discussions on why it is that I believe this thing, but I truly did believe it, and it held me back. It was you couldn't be a good mom and run a successful business. That the two shall not meet. I'll go a step further to tell you that I didn't believe you could be a successful professional and be a good mom. So one of my and this is my old self talking. This is not what I believe now, but this was my old self not even talking. You guys, I think with a limiting belief, when you're in the moment of a limiting belief, you don't even know that you have it. It's like until something shows you a different way or challenges your way of thinking, would it be uncovered? And then once you start to become curious about why is it that you think this and why is it that you're acting a certain way, do you actually do something about it? So my wake-up call, if you will, from my limiting belief, because I do think you need to have like a wake-up call from some limiting beliefs that you hold, was that I couldn't do both things. I couldn't be a successful professional, and I couldn't be a good mom. And I held those two things very separately. Like, if you want to be a good mom and that is your highest value, then you can't also hold this other one, which is being successful in business and being a successful entrepreneur. And I thought that they could not overlap and they could not mesh. But that was my limiting belief speaking. So my wake-up call for this was Rachel Hollis. So you guys, Rachel Hollis was very pivotal in helping me overcome this one, because Rachel, around the what was her first book? Her first book was called Grow Wash Your Face. And then I had been, just kind of following Rachel on social media around this time. And it was really impressive to me that she had 4 kids, was doing a great job running her household, and was also achieving and accomplishing these great things professionally. And I know of other examples of women doing this, but I didn't actually see it, I wasn't actually able to see a real life example. I knew of examples, but I hadn't seen them with my own eyes. And Rachel was so transparent on social media about what it was like. She'd show the hard work, and she'd show what time she was getting up in the morning, and she'd also show her being with her kids. And I think for me, that was the first time that someone had actually literally shown me a different way to what I had believed to be true in the past. And that was my wake-up call. And so Rachel gave me a lot of motivation to think not just, oh, it can't be done. And again, you're not actually processing these thoughts. They're your limiting beliefs. So you're working under that programming, but you're not actually actively thinking about it. So she challenged that to me. And then I began to become very curious about it. Why is it that, I have this desire and this passion to start a business, but you're right. The thing that's been holding me back is that I don't believe that I could. I don't believe that I could be a good mom and actually run a company at the same time. I didn't believe I could be a good mom and actually be a very successful business professional at the same time. I mean, it's sad. I'm sorry that I believed that, but that was the programming that I was living under, and that was my belief. So first step for me was literally coming to that realization that this is a framework that I believed. And the next thing was becoming very curious about it. And what was really sitting in my heart was this idea that I wanted to start a business. And I think seeing Rachel just over and over overcome and be able to hold both things, not or, but and, like Gary Vee always says, it's not or, it's always and. And he is right. It is and. So now I am operating under the ability to hold both. I want to be and. I'm going to do the best job I can for Ponyback. I'm going to do the best job I can for my kids. It's going to be and, and there's going to be some give and take. And obviously there's sacrifices in choosing to do both really well. But that's where I want to be. That is where I want to live. I want to be trying to tackle these two big things in a great way and also give to others along the way. And so that's where I've ultimately netted out on my 2 big smashing limiting beliefs that I have existed with in my life. It does feel good to be on the other side of both of those limiting beliefs and just look back at them and be like, I can't believe, it's almost like you wake up. And I had used that word earlier, but it is so true. It's like you wake up from these limiting beliefs one day and you're like, I can't believe I was living under that pretense. I can't believe I was living under that way of thinking. Here we are now, living in the and. What's funny now is to actually think about having been on the other side of that limiting belief and think back to that former person. And now being here at my present self and doing that thing that I didn't believe I could do. It's kind of epic, quite honestly. Anyway, I am just super curious to know if you've had a similar experience, if you've had a limiting belief that has held you back from doing something and then you actually like overcame it. Or maybe you're just struggling with a limiting belief that you just realized you had and had that sort of awakening moment and you're just now becoming curious about it. So please, I would love to continue the conversation in the comments about this. I would love to hear what has been your experience or if any of my limiting beliefs have also resonated with you. So let me know what you think. And as always, thank you so much for being here. I cannot believe that, we started this YouTube channel months ago. And I mean, we're still figuring out and still learning, but that you are here and watching and following along on this ponyback journey just means the world to me. So if you would please like and subscribe, that would be fantastic. And we will see you next week for more behind the scenes with Ponyback and more Stacey craziness. So have a fabulous week. I'll see you soon, guys. Bye.